Alright guys, what's going on? Spark here, we're back, and I'm not going to do the annoying clicking that I usually do in the beginning of a game, or beginning of a deck analysis. So let's go ahead and look at Aura Servants. Awesome deck. That's a lot of fun to play, and as much as I hate the enchantment aspect of Magic, this one's actually viable. So let's go through the deck. Gifts of Granite is interesting, it's fun, it's entertaining, but I don't play it. There are a lot better enchantments in the deck, and you just kind of have to pick and choose which ones you want. Same thing with Lifelink. It's nice to have the ability to grab a 1 mana cost Lifelink thing when you need it, but again, you gotta pick and choose what you want. So, Daybreak Coronet can only be attached to a creature with another aura on it, which makes it like a 3-for-1 if they kill your creature, which kind of sucks, but it's a very solid card, very worth playing, especially with as many auras and enchantments as you have. Elumbra is a 2 mana cost counterspell, and I say it's a counterspell because it's usually a counter target spell if it's targeting a creature you control, and it keeps all of its auras, which is awesome. You know, you can pay 2 mana and basically counter a spell. It's wonderful. Invisible Stalker is absolutely broken. He's a lot of fun to play in this format. Highly recommend keeping them in there. Same thing with the Spirit Dancers. Spirit Dancers are a lot of fun to play. They're very good at soaking up that early kill card because people just don't want you to have the card advantage. And 1-for-1, I mean, you're even. There aren't a lot of kill spells in this deck. But I don't think we need 4. I think we're more just threatening than anything else, but we'll come back to these later. This is a lot of fun. It's a good card to grab, it's a good card to be interesting with, it's a neat combat trick, and it's a one-of, so I mean I just keep it in there. Academy Researchers are a lot of fun, but you only play one, so it's very hard to get anything going, and you don't have any enchantments that are just like Eldrazi Conscript broken. If you had Eldrazi Conscript in the deck, I would definitely be playing Academy Researchers just to go turn 3 Eldrazi Conscript, good game. Oromancers, I don't think we need 2 of. I don't think we need them at all, honestly. Very occasionally do they grab an enchantment. Very late game they're good, but you have the Sun Titans. I'm going to try and keep 2 Sun Titans in here. That just any permanent card with convert mana costs 3 or less. Now most of your good enchantments are 3 or less, so it just seems like they're the better choice. Mimeomancers are great because they don't make a creature a 3-1 and lose abilities. They make them a 3-1 and have all of their abilities and enchantments. So, making a Spirit Dancer a 3-1 flyer, just by putting a counter on it, seems like a good idea to me. Imperial Armor. This is a lot of fun. I don't know if we need 2 of them, so I'm going to take 1 out for the moment. It's a fun card to search up when you need it, and it costs 3 or less, so the Sun Titans get it back for you. But it's a good way to just kind of instantly end the game, and a lot of other fun things like that. Flicker Wisp is a good way to kill tokens, or remove counters from permanents that you don't want counters on, like a Johnny Pridemate, or letting you get in for additional damage, or just something like that. I mean, they're utility. They're kind of weak, but at the same time, I might leave them in there. Might go down to 1, but we'll kind of leave it at 2 right now. The Geist of Saint Draft is absolutely amazing, even as a one-of in this deck. The ability to attack and attack with a 4/4 if they're not ready just kind of breaks the game. Griffin Guide is a lot of fun. It comes back with the Sun Titan, and it gets you another creature when it dies. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good card. Return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Now, I don't like Hannah, just simply because you have to put it into your hand and then put it into play. This guy, on the other hand, just says put an aura card that's in your graveyard into the battlefield under your control, attached to a creature you control. Just pick and choose one and put it back in. Seems a lot better. He's not as mana specific either. But let's look at the Infiltrator's Mage Mark. Infiltrator's Mage Mark is absolutely amazing. Creatures you control that are enchanted get +1/+1 and can't be blocked except by creatures with Defender. Now, when I first read this card, when we were going over the previews of the decks, I don't think I realized how powerful this thing is. Creatures you control that are enchanted get +1/+1 and can't be blocked except by creatures with Defender. That's every creature you control that's enchanted. You can just go, I'm going to attack with my Conscript. Or my, what is it? Sovereigns. I'm going to attack with my Sovereigns and grab that. And then every creature you control that's enchantment, that next turn is unblockable. Absolutely amazing. Ophidian Eye lets you just go, I feel like drawing a card this turn. It's got Flash, and if you put it on one of the unblockable guys, it's basically attack, and my creatures are unblockable. Cool. Now there is a combo in this deck, and I'm not a fan of it, because it's a 3-card combo. It's Indestructibility, which I don't play at all, and Pariah, which is whenever you're dealt damage, it's dealt to an enchanted creature instead. So if you put that on the right creature combination, you're okay. If they have some way to deal with your hexproof creature, then you're not okay. So I don't like having that combo in there, especially just because Pariah is a one-of. But Indestructibility, since we're on the subject, we'll talk about it. Enchant permanent is indestructible. It's cool to have an indestructible permanent, but it costs 4 mana, and they can respond as you play it. Or they can just bounce it still. Or they can give it -1/-1. There are a lot of ways to deal with indestructibility, especially on a smaller creature, so I don't like it. This guy is a vanilla 2/3 flyer for 3 mana in the deck that is enchantment based. No thank you. This guy is a vanilla, not a vanilla, almost vanilla. He's vanilla, he's like a swirly. He's like vanilla chocolate almost. Flying Hexproof 2/2 4 mana, not really worth it if you ask me. You know, we have a 2 mana 1/1 that's hexproof, that's unblockable. That's a lot better than the Aven Fleetwing here. Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. Absolutely amazing. White spells and blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Spells your opponent cast cost 1 more to cast. Now there's a very fun game of me playing this deck. I don't know if it'll be posted by the time you see it. It's one of the first games I played with the Azorius deck where Augustin just wrecked shit. He's amazing. He's so much fun. Guardian Seraph is a good way to deal with the aggressive decks, but you play so many good enchantments that you really don't need them in there. Ocular Halo, I do not play at all. I prefer just the Ophidian Eye to draw cards, and your Spirit Dancers. You've got way more than enough draw to be in the game at all. I mean, it's just, you get so far ahead, it's not even fair. This one is a good way to gain a lot of life, a good way to deal with some of the flying and other annoying things in the deck, and gain some life while you're at it. I'm probably going to keep that in there. I don't know, we're going to have to take a look and see what else we need. We're going to put the rest of these in there though. But that's a possibility of coming out. This is also a possibility of coming out because it takes a really long time for this to get broken. But yeah, we'll just see. Drake Umbra has the Totem Armor. Totem Armor is amazing. Basically, if it says Totem Armor, you should probably play it. Followed Footsteps is broken on Core Spirit Dancer. The ability to just be like, oh hey, I feel like drawing 8 cards this turn. Let me play an enchantment. Oh, let me play another enchantment. Oh, let me play another enchantment. And just draw a ton of cards. It's amazing. So, I definitely recommend playing 2. I feel like 3 might be too many, but we'll see what happens. Fool's Demise. Whenever enchanted creature dies, return to the battlefield under your control. is put into the graveyard for the battlefield. Return Fool's Demise to its owner's hand. Now you actually have to have the creature die. It's nice to put on your own creatures because it's basically another totem armor that comes back to your hand, but it's very expensive. Now you're probably seeing that I had the Godhead of Awe out simply because you play so many creatures and it just weakens your creatures. I feel like it's not good. Um, it's nice because obviously if you're playing more of a control-y deck, I can see the combination of the Seraph with the Godhead of Awe and just being like, oh look, I win the game. And then in that case, I'd probably play Indestructibility and Pariah and little things like that, where you could just be like, okay, yeah, well, I win the game. Um, but I mean, I don't think I'm going to play the Godhead of Awe. I don't think it's that good. Mammoth Umbra is fun, but you don't really need two. Now, I do play two Mind Controls, simply because Mind Control is one of your kill cards. It's a good way to deal with a creature, and it's a great way to stay in shape. Sigil of the Empty Throne. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a 4/4 angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good card. I don't know if it's necessary, though. It's a very expensive card, and right now I'm trying to keep the ratio about even. So I don't think we're going to have enough enchantments. Like, right there. We're 50-50 right now with creatures and enchantments. Now, obviously, we want a few more enchantments than we do creatures, but I don't think we're going to have enough. 3 Dreams is a lot of fun, but it's very expensive, and you don't need it because of the Sovereigns. The Sovereigns are just amazing. Totem Guide Heartbeast. Enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an aura card revealed and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. He's a very expensive card that's not really that great. He was great and sealed and limited during the time that he was played, but I don't like him. Winds of Wrath. Winds of Wrath are just kind of bleh sometimes. They're good sometimes, but they're bad sometimes. You just kind of... I don't like situational cards. Enter battlefield, search your library for an aura, reveal it. That could attach it. If aura touch mage is still on the battlefield, put that aura onto the battlefield attached to it. Otherwise, reveal it and put it into your hand. Very expensive for a 3/3. So yeah, I don't play them. Sovereigns, absolutely broken. Absolutely broken. Definitely need to play them. Sun Titan, like I said, we're going to try and keep 2 of them in there. And the Iridescent Angel. It's a lot of fun, has protection from all the colors, but you can't enchant it with your own things, so, it doesn't really help you. So, we've got 5 too many cards in the deck. So let's start off with these 2 guys. I don't like them, because, again, they take a long time to get going. They can get broken, but they take a long time to get going, especially with our ratio right now. With them in there, what was our ratio? 49 to 51. Now obviously this is a very early game deck with a little bit of late game. So let's look at, 3 more cards. 3 more cards. I'm not a fan of the Narcolepsies. I haven't played with them before in this, simply because it's basically a pacifism, but if you put it on a creature that has an ability, they can still activate the ability. I mean, I guess it's a better version of, or it's the same thing as pacifism, just I would rather, honestly, try and get the white mana up further, because I feel like if you keep a hand that doesn't have white mana, you're just going to have a really bad time. So when you get rid of 1 card, I feel like that is the Flicker Wisp. The Flicker Wisp I just don't like. He's double white, which is hard to get off early. He's only really good against tokens and things with counters, so 1 is more than enough of him. I mean, 2 is ideal, but I think 1 will be plenty. So, that's the list. Let's look at this, see what you guys think. Now, obviously, a card like this would be good to be in there. If you found something in my list that you didn't like, that would be a good choice. Academy Researchers can be a lot of fun, but they just die a lot as well. I feel like everything else was a pretty reasonable removal. Maybe the sigil's a good idea to keep in the deck if you're not playing so many creatures. If you're just going with the creatures that can't be targeted, might be a good idea. However, I do like the Mimeomancers. If you weren't playing the Mimeomancers and the Flicker Wisp and a few things like that, maybe the 3 Dreams would be better. Or if you weren't playing such a good way to search for cards, like, or a great way to get enchantments, something like the Nomad Mythic Maker, the Sovereigns. Obviously, he gets them out of your graveyard, but still. So let's look at the list. 4 Evolving Wilds. As much as I hate Evolving Wilds, and we couldn't just get fetchies or dual lands. I mean, it is the return to Ravnica. I don't see why we don't have dual lands, but alright. 2 Daybreak Coronets. 1 Ilumbra. 4 Invisible Stalkers. 4 Core Spirit Dancers. 2 Pacifisms. 1 Triclopian Sight. I guess is how you say that. 2 Aven Mimeomancers. 1 Imperial Armor. 1 Flicker Wisp. 1 Geist of Saint Draft. 2 Griffin Guides. 1 Infiltrator's Mage Mark. 1 Nomad Myth Maker. 1 Ophidian Eye. 1 Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. Sounds like Jarvan from LoL, but Wall of Reverence. A Drake Umbra. 2 Followed Footsteps, because they're amazing on a lot of the creatures. 1 Mammoth Umbra, because you can search it up. 2 Mind Controls. 2 Sovereigns. And 2 Sun Titans. So guys, if there's anything that you change, obviously the Sigil's a card that's up for debate. If you're playing more control-y, you could play, and weren't playing all the creatures that you don't want to put enchantments on, you could play the Winds of Wrath, and play it much more control-y. But at the same time, there's a lot of things you can do with the deck. I feel like I like my list. This is something that I would definitely consider playing. It's a lot of fun. Games are a little long, but very enjoyable. So if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like or comment. Let me know if there's anything you change or anything that I just did completely wrong. Thanks again for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you later.